So, nice to meet you and thank you everybody for coming. Hope you will enjoy. And just in order to start, I would like that everybody says name and nationality, know a little bit who we are talking with. And I start, I'm Guido, Italy.
Dennis, Germany. Spain.
Where?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jacek, Poland.
Ola, Poland. Marta, Poland.
Ingrid, France.
Okay. The last one was something like everybody from Poland but me, so thank you for joining people. And the rules are very, very simple. Let's just take somebody that already been there. Why not Adrian, for example? And just if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So the first part is going to be about to decide what we want to discuss about, okay? And it's going to be exactly like that.
Yeah, so each person tells a subject that you like talk about. I mean, if you say it, then you say it. And in the end, we will vote. We will explain why you want to talk about the subject, and people will vote, and the most voted topic will be discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the end, you make kind of resume. If you want the topic, let's say, you make kind of resume what happened, if you like it or not, if it was what you expected.
Okay. And so, raise your hand who doesn't understood something and would like to something more, because if it's clear for everybody, of course we go on. But
you can vote for several topics. You don't.
No, wait a minute.
You know,
raise your hand,
okay.
People that haven't understood something. Now, raise your hand if somebody that already been in a philosophical coffee want to add something. Just for you.
you can vote several times. You don't have to choose one topic. You can, if you like some more than one topic, you can vote for every topic, so on.
And you can also test more than one topic. If you have more than one idea, you can say more than one topic. And another thing is, you raise your hand before talking. Guido will tell you when.
Yeah, but that's after. So just stick on the first part. Otherwise, okay. But yes. And so everybody that have a topic now will have to raise his hand and just say the topic, not to explain the topic, because now you just say the topic. For example, love. And after I call back your name, I will say once again, Dennis, love, and Dennis will explain to us why you want to talk about love, okay? So now just the title of the topics that you want to discuss about. Proszę bardzo. Adrian.
Palestine.
Thank you.
Negative effects of
Give me your name. Mauri.
negative effects of technology.
Effects. Technology. Dennis. Wait, excuse me, I'm not that fast.
How the internet shapes our behavior.
Come closer. Name and nationality? Of course I know it, but just for the others. Thank you. Okay. Some other topic? Paula.
Identity.
Identity. Some other topic?
Change of human.
Name and topic.
Mateusz.
Mateusz.
Change of human throughout his whole life.
Change of human throughout.
Yeah, his whole life.
Other topics. I know you have. Come on, we have just 5.
Social network.
Now, social networks.
Negative effects of music on the speakers of the
Okay, that's the winner. You have one.
But it's a bit the same, but I will tell you. Mine was what makes
Name and
Ingrid, what makes you the same person over time?
What?
Makes you the same person over time. I think it's the same idea.
Join it together.
All the time.
Over time.
Over time.
All your life.
Like you prefer.
Over time.
Over time. Okay. Other topics? Next. Next.
Okay, I have another one. I could not explain very well if you ask me. I want to ask, is philosophy dead?
This one is easy, I can answer yes. Let's just try, you know, when you went here, what was exactly that you wanted to hear about? Because normally when I was coming to a philosophical cafe, I was always thinking to myself, okay, let's see, I really would like that today we will talk about, I don't know, moral of birds and mountains. And so I was proposing that, just the idea is not that you have to think that is the best issue on the planet, just you have to propose the issues that you think that you would like to hear about. Okay?
I'm not sure how to put it in words, but I would say how education shapes your life.
You are pretty sure how to put it in words.
Yeah, well, I have something I want to talk about. I don't know if it's clear. But I will explain it later.
Well, then I can add another one similar to that. How traveling shapes your life, your also behavior, personality. Yeah, shapes your personality. That's a joint topic now.
So, or somebody else have an issue, or we start defending the issues. Do somebody have something? Please, Mr. Spegman? Okay. So, Adrian, let's tell us in a couple of minutes why you want to talk about Palestine.
Well, in short words, I was there about 2 weeks ago, and I never really thought about this subject before so much deeply. I mean, you hear on the news Gaza and stuff, and I went there by coincidence. I mean, I bought the cheap ticket to Israel. I was like, okay, I didn't really choose the place, and then a guy wanted to go with me to Palestine. So I said, whatever, I don't have any plans, and I was completely in shock with everything that I experienced. That I didn't know, that all the stuff that, I don't know, doesn't come to the news and that you don't know about. And I want to ask, like, what is your opinion about the conflict as well? Sorry. And what do you know about the subject? Because I didn't know practically nothing, and now I know much more. And I got really a lot interested about the subject, and I started to watch documentaries and stuff to understand more what's going on.
Mauri, negative effects of technology.
Yeah, so I think it's related to the topic of Dennis in a way, because internet is like kind of the last big technology that came to us. And if we thought about the internet, for example, we can see how now we are more used to read short texts, and our focus ability is kind of shrinking. And in general, internet users who have been surfing for more than 10 years now, we have traveled to read just one hard copy of a book because we need novelty all the time, and this kind of affects us and stresses us. And maybe the same with mobile phones, when we are always in contact with other people, so we cannot have a time for ourselves and to be relaxed and disconnected from the outside world. So these kind of things.
Okay. Dennis, how internet shapes our behavior?
Yeah, so it's basically, you could maybe call it like a subcategory of the broader topic of Nowe. And I just had this idea because the internet is basically standardizing our way of life. It's like that everything is getting categorized and standardized, so that in the end machines can basically predict even our behavior. And so that the internet becomes maybe more, instead of a tool, it becomes more like a master of us. So, and I would like to discuss like about what would be the exact impacts on our behavior if the internet would dictate our lives. Basically, it means already now, like with Facebook, which is like a second internet basically, that you are putting Facebook advice for this very exact philosophical Café, and if you are not aware of it via Facebook, often you are not aware of what is going on in general. So I don't know how the internet is standardizing everything, and the threat of that somebody is locked out of something, of participation.
Okay. Paula, identity.
So I want to discuss the way in which we define ourselves and other people. Like, for example, we say that I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm a mother. So we give ourselves a definition, and we also do it to other people. For example, we see someone wearing certain kind of clothes, and we think that we can know their trait of character or something about their lives, and whether it is good or bad, whether it can be harmful or useful. That's all. Thank you.
Mateusz, change of human thought is change of human throughout his own life.
Okay, so I wanted to discuss general change in us. If it's true, for example, that the older we get, the harder it is to change ourselves, or things like what it takes to go through a deep, profound change in ourselves. Does it have to be some kind of event in our life that really strikes us and tells us that we need to change, something's wrong, or is it something that we decide at some point in our life that I need to change, or I feel the need to change, or even if it's true that we need to change because sometimes maybe it's good to stay the same throughout whole life. generally, I wanted to discuss about those things, how we think about it.
Okay. Navi, social networks.
As everyone is involved in this technology recently, so I was thinking that maybe we can categorize the benefits and the disadvantages of these social networks, that everyone has different feedbacks about it, and we can understand better how we can maximize the benefits and minimize the threats that it could have for our life, or maybe for all children or the minorities in the social society.
Ingrid, what makes you the same person over time?
Yeah, so you know the human cells are regenerated every 7 years. So actually we're not the same person from our birth until now. Still, a woman born in the 50s, over a child in the 50s and an older woman now, but is it the same person? How can you say it's the same person? We're very different, but still we feel one person. So how are we defined? Do we have, is it our consciousness that defines us? Or how can you remain the same person through all the changes of your life?
And Ingrid, is philosophy dead?
Yeah, it comes from a famous scientist called Stephen Hawking, who is an astrophysicist, and he says now philosophy is dead because it didn't take up the progress on science, and now science is asking the very deep questions about the meaning of life and etc. And philosophy didn't keep up with it. So I was wondering if there is any truth. Is really science ahead now?
Adrian, how education shapes our life, your life?
I wanted to know what was your opinion, if it matters what type of family and place you are growing with, and also, I don't know, if you are homeschooling or the type of education that you have, if it will influence who you are going to be, like in the future, or it doesn't really matter because we are already like, I don't know, more in, I don't know, if I go to music school, does it mean that I will have a music path, or is if I'm born already with it and it doesn't matter what kind of education I get? And also, if you are born in the village and you don't have so much access to culture, for example, and the person that lives in the city, how does it change? Yeah, if anybody can learn anything at any time, or is it the general opinion about different types of education, and if it changes your life?
Dennis, how traveling shapes our personality?
Yes, so there I would like to get your feedback or your discussion about how maybe traveling shaped your personality when you were traveling, because usually when you're traveling you always learn something new. You maybe question also something in your own behavior and maybe also in your own philosophy of life. And so there are of course different ways of traveling. Like you can do this package holidays, or you can do couchsurfing, which is let's say two extremes. And like how far different forms of traveling are giving you more life experience or not.
Okay, thank you everybody. I would like to try now, because normally the normal procedure now asks to everybody who asks something, well, not everybody, just one or two person asking something, for example, about Palestine to Adrian, so we can dig deeper and stuff like that. But now, I would like to try something different today. I would like that, for example, when I say Palestine, then somebody that is not Adrian, but in favor of discussing Palestine, defend the argument, okay? Have you everybody understood? Raise your hands if you haven't. Okay. Who's in favor of, who want to try to explain to us why he would like to choose the argument Palestine?
Could you speak up? Could you speak up a bit?
I'm interested in your opinion about the way Homer seems to use reference text. There is a lot going on lately about Islamic topics. I don't know. As you feel, I rather give the words
Okay. Who that is not Maori want to defend negative effects of technology?
I'm very interested about this topic. I didn't think about it, but it's definitely my favorite from all the ones that I've said, as I agree that there are a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of bad stuff related to it, and I would rather myself not take the good steps, because the bad steps are so much worse in my opinion that I would rather be dumb and not have those commodities that the technology could have, that we could, I don't know, control things with our thoughts, just like turn on the light or whatever, but that would affect other stuff with our privacy mainly, that I'm concerned that I want to have my own privacy, my own thoughts, my own things, and yeah, so I'm really curious about the opinion of all people, because for me it's clear, like some stuff, and when I talk to others, they're like, no, going forward with technology is so great, we can do this and that. I don't know, for me it's impressive how they can give up their self, like privacy and stuff, for advanced agriculture and be able to do some tricks.
Who wants to defend the part, Dennis, how internet shapes our behavior?
It's very similar to the one I proposed about it.
We cannot sense it as well.
Well, let's try to find somebody else.
No, if you can look
Can you do it, for example?
yeah, but it's, I would say the same as for my topic, but it is better to say. Because I spoke also about the interview.
Okay, do somebody that still hasn't spoken about internet want to defend negative effects of technology? No, excuse me. How internet shapes our behavior?
The same.
It's very simple. So okay, let's take the other one. Identity. Somebody that's not Ola. Let's explain to us why to pick up identity.
Okay, so I think it's a very interesting topic because this is something that is connected to the past. We have us all the time we have in our lives, so this is very, very, very important thing. And I think that every human seeks to understand his own identity and the correlation between him and the other people in his life and how those mix up together. So it's very interesting to talk about it.
Okay, change of human thought in, oh my gosh, excuse me, once again, change of human throughout his own life.
I would like to discuss this topic because it's one of my favorite topics at the moment. And it's something that I think about a lot, and I'm just curious about about your opinion. I'm just always torn between the two extremes. I think that we are born certain features that will change, and then, well, I would like to discuss it and not say so much now. But it's just I'm torn between saying that people actually change and they actually don't.
Who want to defend social networks? We have a lot of issues about technology. Social networks, come on. It was none.
You mean social networks only within technology, not like social life, right?
It's also This is subtopic of
Okay, we just have a lot of topics on the same arguments. And what makes you the same person over time? Somebody that is not angry. Okay, no, yeah, okay, you already spoke, so...
Because I wonder if it's true, because I don't really think that we are the same person. So throughout our lives, as we grow up, we change, and we may think that we are the same person, but in reality, we are so different in every moment of our life that if we compared it, we put the same person besides one, we take the person when it's when it's 9, when it's 14, when it's 20 and 60. It's not the same person, but we think that we are the same person, and what makes us think that we are, but we really aren't. And it's yeah, because we have this illusion of being the same person, and we have. I think that we have to have it to have our own identity. But I don't. But I think that it's only an illusion. That's why.
Yeah, okay, so I like the topic because it's a bit different approach to my topic, but with a different thesis, let's say. And I really like your idea about combining it with the idea, because this is about your thinking about yourself. Is it really me, the same person that I was 5 years ago, or it's not? And I'm torn apart a bit like you, that sometimes I get this feeling that if I think about my life 3 years ago, I think it was him, not me, it was someone else. But then again, when I think about the future, for example, I try to picture myself as I am right now in the future, and on the one side I know that I will be a different person by that time, but on the other side I'm thinking about something that may happen because of me right now here today that won't let me do this future that I think about, and I really like the idea.
Okay, is philosophy dead?
As I know, philosophy means like love for wisdom, and if someone says that love for wisdom in this world is dead, then I don't know why others still living here.
Well, of course I agree with you.
Food is nice. Food is nice too.
Okay, how education shapes your life? Somebody that is not happy.
Yeah, so I like the topic because I think that education really shapes your life, really depending on what kind of education or what level of education you have, it's kind of dictating your outlook on the world, and also your possibilities, and also to your opportunities. Also basically what kind of people you will meet. I can, just as an example, like I have a younger brother, and he hasn't studied, he has he has done practical education, so he's now a technician. But so he didn't have high school exam, more like middle tier school, and we are already so different because of his education. He's a more of a practical person, and I'm, because of my education, a bit more of a thinker. So, and it would be interesting if I would be in this position, if I would be basically a totally different person, so with like different life.
Can I ask a question? I just want to know, when you say education, do you mean education within your family, or do you mean education within the school system?
Family, school.
Altogether?
Also, but only those like social education, I would say, education like family, university, because like having an education is also reading a book by yourself. That's also education. Is it really about any education?
Yeah, I mean also like within the society that you live in. I don't know. You're all your friends. What football are you going to end up the same way or not? I don't know. Like everything that influences you. I mean, mostly family and school. It's like most of the time you spend other time with your family and school. So those are the most important ones.
Okay, last one. How traveling shapes our personality.
Nobody else.
We have an hand?
So for me, it's very important subject because it's interesting when you are in other place and you are not interested in museums, some kinds of environment, but you are interested in social life, in people life, in culture. Sometimes they life is quite different, can teach us another point of view of ourselves.
So not to discover the others, but exactly to discover ourselves. Interesting. Okay, now normally we have a little pause, then we vote and we discuss. So this one is just the opening, and I would give you like 10 minutes for a coffee if somebody finished the coffee and they want to take another coffee, because after we start, and of course you can even take a break while we discuss, but if you take a break while we are discussing something, you can do something, some little part. So I prefer to give 10 minutes before so everybody can go to the bathroom or take a coffee, and after we start all together. So let's say that I wait for you all, but let's try to do it just 10 minutes, okay? Okay. Now the political part, we have to vote. You can vote even 2 times for, or 3 or 4, or even for every item. So let's just, you have to raise your hand every time that I tell you an issue that you would like to discuss. If I say something about something that you totally don't want to discuss, then you don't raise your hand. It's very simple. Who want to discuss about Palestine? 1, 2, 3. Who want to discuss about negative effects of technology? Okay. So, Palestine, negative effects of technology, how internet shapes our behavior, identity, change of human throughout his own life, social networks, what makes you the same person over time, is philosophy dead, how education shapes your life, how traveling shapes our personality.
But you can vote several times if you like.
So
you don't
like
have to choose one.
3 or 4.
If you hear something you like, you can vote.
That's the topic which you like to explain.
Negative effects of technology. Raise your hand. Who want to discuss about how internet shapes our behavior? The half. It seems to be the same, but it's not. Who want to discuss about identity? Who want to discuss about change of human throughout his own life? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow. For the moment is the winner. Who want to discuss about social networks? Yeah, just because we already had two very similars, so just. What makes you the same person over time? Who want to discuss about it? Raz, dwa, trzy, cztery, pięć, sześć, siedem, osiem, dziewięć. Okay. Who want to discuss is philosophy dead?
That is the answer. It's half dead.
We do it. Make one more for you.
How education shapes your life? We want to discuss how traveling shapes our personality. Yeah. So for the moment, the winner is, well, for the moment, is absolutely the winner, without any doubt. Change of human throughout his own life. Just the only one that I'm not able to pronounce. That's unfair. Okay, so it was Mateusz, and Mateusz will have to start. Now the rules are very, very simple. If you want to say something, you have to raise your hand and speak. But how? There will be a list that I will make, and I will take you on and off the list. When you raise your hand, I will put you on the list. When you spoke after it, I take you off the list. Okay? So, for example, if Mateusz speaks and Sylvia wants to answer, but in the middle there are Adrian and Dennis, Sylvia will have to remember what she wants to answer to Mateusz, and that's a hard memory proof. Okay? So I really suggest everybody to write down if you want to remember everything what you want to say, because otherwise you will feel like I absolutely have to answer now, and we will fight all together because it's not easy to speak everybody without taking care of terms. Perfect. So is it clear for everybody, or somebody has some doubt?
But for example, if you're on the list and somebody says something very similar to what you were thinking, so then you can't not tell what you were thinking. Like, if there will be no reason of telling it again if some person already told you what you were
So you want to delete yourself from the list?
Yeah.
Well, in that case, just when it's your turn, you say, yeah, they already say it, just it doesn't matter. Or you can come to me and tell me, you have to delete me from the list, and I will.
Just pull a paperboard too.
If you have a mobile phone or you want to ask some paper to somebody else that already have paper or pens, or you are everybody okay? Okay. So Mateusz, well, we can just start with somebody asking that don't want to discuss about it, who haven't voted it. Raise your hand. Somebody have. Dennis. just ask Mateusz why he wants to discuss about this horrible item that I'm not able to pronounce. So.
I guess no. I think that's exactly the case why he wants to discuss it. So because that you can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
No, it's I don't really need to ask him, like I don't need to tell you why you want to talk about it. It's just for me it's like it doesn't ring me a bell. So that's why I'm not voting for that. So
okay.
I will just see how I can contribute to it.
So you can start how you want.
Okay, so maybe at the beginning I would like to narrow it down a bit, because I think that we could all agree that we are born, we go through some educations, we have some environment at early stage of our life. And what I wanted to discuss is after this main stage of your life, when you come out from school, let's say you're about 18 or 21 or something like this, and then you go into the life without your parents holding your hand, without your closest family, closest environment, friends, and everything you got used to do, and you just go there and experience life. And now you can confront it, what you know, what you've learned, with what you experience when you get out of home and go somewhere in the world. So this is what I wanted to discuss. And the initial question would be if you think that this is like hitting the wall, that you get out of there and see that, oh my God, it's so much different than what I thought. The world is so much different. I think that I will be another person than I used to be now, because it just doesn't fit together. And I think that it is kind of like this, that if you open this portal of incoming experiences to yourself, you begin to think that your personality actually is not really evolved. That I have this feeling that I have some integrity, I'm myself, I know who I am, and so on. And lately, I just figured it out that it's not like that. There's a lot in the world that I know that will somehow shape me even more than I am shaped right now. And I was wondering if you have the same feeling, and what do you think, what are those forces that shapes us? How do they do it? And if it's really like that, because maybe I'm mistaken, maybe you have another opinion that you're shaped after that 18 or 21 or whatever, and you're the same person throughout your whole life in the end, and that generally you stay the same person, you have this shaped identity and nothing changes. I mean, some profound changes. I don't mean that you change your hairstyle or something like this, or even a place where you live. It's not what I meant. I mean some deep, profound changes in your identity that you go through when you get out to the world. So that's it.
Adrian.
I think, well, in my opinion, it's a very wide subject that at least connects four of the topics that were mentioned here. For example, the traveling one, the education one, the identity, we are still the same from all our lives. So I'm a bit afraid that it would be too big to discuss it. I also lost a bit of my thought to all of your ideas. I was asking if it's possible to do some kind of sentence that we could start somewhere, because now I'm a bit lost where I should start.
We have.
Okay, sign me in so I can.
All the three of you are just answers to Adrian?
Well, it's not like answer to Adrian, maybe it was like a comment on, I don't remember your name, yeah, it's like the first comment, but it connects to Adrian's.
Okay, so just give me the order. We had Mauri.
I wanted to speak about something, but
Okay, Mauri.
Okay, so sign me in so I can.
Yeah. Can you give me back your names?
Mantas.
Mantas. And Mateusz once again. Okay, Mauri.
So So you mentioned some powers that shape us. I think several of the powers intends us to be kind of a sheep, right? Not to grow too much, so as not to disturb the status quo, right? So we could include here kind of like the television, for example, right? That doesn't teach so much and keep us sitting on the sofa and just doing nothing, maybe. Maybe some people could say religion too, so as to be obedient. In general, religion is to be obedient and to be a good person, so as to not to disturb the others. And you mentioned before we chose this topic, something very interesting, like what are the reasons that compels us to grow? I would say one reason could be being in very bad shape, like touching the ground, and then from then rising up. I cannot find now specific examples, but I'm sure that many people who have gone very far in life, okay, maybe Delano Roosevelt, this American president, he was a very weak child, and he was told by his father that he should be strong for life, and he was kind of ashamed for the family. And he started working a lot on developing his physique and his intellect, and he came to be an astonishing president that even when he was shot, he delivered his speech because he knew he wasn't going to die, and he continued to do what he thought was the correct thing to do. So he excelled very, very much.
Mantos.
When you're talking like that every day something is like reshaping us, you know, and how do I know what I am, and the experience between like the educational stuff and the things that you really get in life, you know. But the main question then I think would be, what is the shape that you want to get, you know? At first, you will always feel like like unhappy with your shape, I think, if you don't know what shape you want, you know. Any shape would seem like a bad one to you, because there's always a better possibility. And then I think that it gets like, you must grow every day, but the idea is that today you have your shape for today, you know, and tomorrow you will maybe get the other shape of yourself, you know, and to feel content about that is the best thing, I think. Like to think that today, what I'm having today is actually the best possibility that I could have today. And one more thing about, like, you were talking about that you said that you want to narrow this thing, and you said about like the experience you get in school, university, and everything, and then the experience you get in life. And I think that this, like, let's see. Well, it's quite hard to say that education is not a real thing, you know. Of course, when you go to the actual life and you see a lot of things like going not the same direction as you were like taught in the school or university, but then I get the idea that university is just one point of view to the world. Then your today's life in Poland, for example, is the other point of view. But if tomorrow you would go to some Asia country, you know, the life would seem totally different than the point of view that you had in Poland and the point of view that you had in your like educational systems and everything. And that also means like today is the best thing that I can get, and like something like that.
Mateus.
Okay, so I feel like I'm pushed to the defensive here. Maybe if you wanted to discuss a bit different angle when you voted for this topic, then just try to share it and we'll see what do you think about it. But I mean, I don't mean that it's hard for me to refer to anything like that. Maybe I'll start here because you wanted me to clear up something. So I wanted to focus on those changes. Let's say that from a bit different approach, because you took this approach about thinking in the future. Is this the reality, or is this today the best what I can get? What I meant is actually a bit different approach when you look back and you're able to say that, wow, I changed somehow, and really did. So I'm talking about this feeling, a deep, profound change, and I wanted to focus on these kind of changes. And I know that your life can actually switch and turn into something very different if you leave your country and go to continue education somewhere else. And the second thing is, I'm not thinking that generally, yeah, maybe I thought that I wanted to focus about those changes that happens to your life after your education and so on, but they can occur much sooner, and I realized that. So if you wanted to go to that area, it's not a restriction of mine that I put on you. So it's okay if you think differently. That's what is this topic about. So if you think differently, then just go with it and tell us. But initially, when I thought about this topic, was those kind of changes that occur. So, for example, when you experience some event in your life which is really, really strong, of an impact to your personality. And I gave an example of meeting the world when you get out of cage. It might sound like this because it was personally an example of mine. That's why I put this in these situations. But you might have so many different occasions when you thought about the same. So yeah, just speak about them, because don't hold on to my example, because I just wanted to give this example for you to better understand what I meant. But now I see that maybe it wasn't the best move right now. But yeah, just try to focus on those deep, profound changes inside of you, not those little tiny changes like, wow, maybe tomorrow I'll go to the cinema, let's see what happens. It might happen something interesting there, and that will really change you. So it's okay, but just try to focus on those deep changes, okay?
Camille.
I think that, I think we have to kind of define what we mean by changes as well, because that's only my personal opinion. You're welcome to disagree if you want to. I actually don't think that people change that much throughout life. I think that we change what we do, but not really who we are. And that I think that we get mistaken by changing what we do, so it kind of changes everything. Well, changing what we do and changing our habits changes, and in the end it changes who we are, but not really. And I agree with what you were saying when you said that deep changes only come from like big shock. I think you can't really change yourself if you don't have a big impact or shock in your life.
Dennis.
Yeah, so about this profound change in life, and so I think that often like outside events are very heavy events, like for example a war breaks out and you are being sent to fight. And if the whole life you have been a peaceful person, you have even never learned how to fight, and now you are coming in such a situation and you have to basically question your own morals, your own philosophy of life, maybe even who you have to trust. So maybe even your own belief system. Such things might profoundly change you. Even though it depends what can be changed. So I mean, if it's about personality, I'm not so sure if this is something which can change massively over time, or if it's basically already, let's say, encoded in your personal genetics, let's say. But what can be profoundly changed, in my opinion, as an example, because of outside events or new discoveries you made, new things you discovered, you learned about. So it's like your belief system, your own philosophy of life, your behavior towards others, and also like, I mean, if you're more positive or negative, like such things.
Just a little provocation before to give the word to the next one. Why don't you, for example, try to involve some experience of your life about changing or not changing? Just an idea. Marta.
Okay, several issues. First, about the things that have that we are changed only by the things that have this heavy impact on us. I'm not so sure, because when you, for example, think about education, when I'm totally sure that when I started my studies and after I finished them, I was totally different person, and not only in my behavior but in my beliefs, and that there are some things that if you know and you get to know some things, they make you change your perception of other people behavior and so on and so on, and this knowledge makes you change your inner self, like your own perception, your own understanding of what's going on. And so I think that it's not only shock that makes us different and that makes our personality change and so on, but also knowledge and all the things that we perceive and we like consciously observe when we are conscious of of something that can change us somehow, then we can change ourselves. I don't know if you like, for example, when I started my studies, I didn't know that people lie and they believe their lives, like when we make some lie and then we repeat it, it becomes our memory, and it's after some time it seems like after some time it's not like they are actually lying, they are remembering things. And so when I see people who are lying, and I know they are lying, but they've been doing it for years, I don't judge them, because I know that they are changed. They think, they believe what they say, and it's not like they are lying still, but they just have this memory. And so, for example, I can't judge them. I can't say, oh, he's lying. No. So somehow I changed my perception of other people, and also changed my personality, because I'm not so fast to judge other people, for example, you know. And also, Mantis? Yeah, you said that we have this goal in our lives that we want to achieve. I don't think that it's true, because the changes just happen. It's not like there are this we want to become somebody, and we are on the stage, and after some time we are there. But we are changing gradually, and we don't really have to be conscious about these changes. So I don't think that there is a goal. I think that some things are just happening, and we can see them only when we look back, and not that we wanted to achieve something, but after some time we can look back and see ourselves as we were, and then we can notice, oh, we changed. So that's it. And Okay, and I think that these changes are very good because I think that if that people who can't adapt and can't change themselves throughout life are bound to be very unhappy, and in the end, when they are old and they look back and they can't see their own evolution, they won't feel that they were happy and they did something with their lives. And also, I think I just said my last word, so thank you.
Jacek.
Yeah. So, like more than one of you said that only thing that changes is our behavior. Like, I'm getting lost when I see only behavior. I would say that behavior is a very important thing. Like, you have, and also you have to change quite a lot of things inside your head to change your behavior. But maybe it's different. And also, you made a long list of things that only change, like points of view, ways of thinking, behavior. Are you positive or negative? But that doesn't construct a fundamental change. So I would really wonder what there is else in human beings that is to be changed. If all those things are changed and still person is the same person, I'm really lost. And also physical body is changing also, like you said, like 7 years is enough to replace almost all cells. And those which stays like brain cells are reconfigurating. So I would say like there is a lot of changing, and maybe there's an illusion of lack of a change, not an illusion of a change. And I don't know if it's like allowed to say about some experiments, but it was proven that people are trying to think of themselves as if they are not changing. It was about racism, like some people was tested how racist are they, and then there was undertook training of tolerance, 2 or 3 months, I don't remember exactly. After that they was tested again, and what's important, they got the information that we have the test from the beginning of the course, and we would like you to try to remember how you was thinking before, and we will check it, and who will be most correct got a reward. And all of those people reported that 3 months ago they was thinking much more similar to what they are thinking now. So they could not remember how intolerant they were before. So they like backdated. So they made impression on themselves that no, we didn't change actually. They have no impact on us. And also somebody said, you also said that, yeah, but it was already touched, that I would say that small gradual change is very powerful. It will happen. You don't have, like, you will see the change that will happen after something dramatic. But if somebody, you have a friend that you didn't saw for a long time, he will meet you, he will say like, whoa, you changed a lot. And he will call you on something like, you said something completely opposite. No, I always thought like I'm thinking today. So I would say a lot of it is lack of ability to see the change. Yeah, so that's what I would say. And if somebody would like explain to me what besides behavior has to change to say that some person really changed, I would like to know. Thank you.
Ola.
Okay, so a lot of what I wanted to say was already said by Marta and Jacek, but I wanted first
change corner.
say something in connection to what Mateusz said. So you talked about deep changes, and that we should talk about the deep changes in our lives. But I think that deep change is not possible without small changes that lead to it. Like it creates the basis for example. It creates for example, like if frustration grows, then you want to change something so much that you finally decide to make a big step and to change something. And and also, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name because one second. Okay, so to
Great name.
I was searching for Latvian names, but your name is not common in Latvia.
Lithuania,
Lithuania.
one
It's not a
country.
Lithuanian name actually. It's Prussian and nobody knows what it means.
you see,
Very
it's difficult.
philosophical.
You can say
Okay. So
But I wrote Marta. Okay.
So you said that to have a goal makes it easier to cope with the change. Like you have a goal, to which you towards which you go, and every day you feel better because you did something to achieve this goal. But I think that expectations actually may cause more difficulties than good things, because you expect something and you compare yourself constantly to the goal that you want to achieve, and it's usually not possible to achieve the exact goal that you had in mind. So the expectations might not be so helpful, and also if you constantly expect something to change, then you cannot be the person you are in full at that time, because you still you constantly think about who you want to be and not about who you are. And that's all. Thank you.
Marta.
yeah, somehow nobody could understand. But actually, I was saying the same. You know? The idea that what shape you want to get was not the goal that I'm trying to reach, but actually nobody can say what shape I want, and then it means that every day's shape is the best. You know, I didn't say that to have a goal is the best option. Maybe I just, you know. And one more thing, you know, like I really agree with Marta, about those small changes in every day, and not to the goal, but like you said, and the days that I can't even think of very deep changes that don't have like any reasons in the past, actually, you know, and you Matt, Mateusz, you said that I'm not talking about going to the cinema, but you know, sometimes I think it happens that, for example, you had some experience in childhood that didn't actually change you because you were like not, you were not like grown up to understand it. But then after like maybe 15 years, you can see a movie, something about that, or even if it was not the one accident in your childhood, but it was something that was like, that was progressive, but was not the like very particular thing, you know, to, I forgot the words. So, then you can go to the cinema like after 15 years, and then bash. You can change it. You would think that, wow, this movie actually changed me or something. But actually, I think those changes were, like Marta said, in the small steps. You were not just thinking. You actually wasn't conscious of those things in everyday life. You know? And I think that was the idea what I was saying, like every day's experience is the best option that you can have today. That today all of those stairs are leading actually somewhere to somewhere. So that was not the idea that I was trying to say that everybody said, no.
You did that.
But I also believe that small changes, only when you, small steps, only when you think of it. Like, for example, when you really want to change, when you really are aware of some changes you want to do, only then is it possible. Because when you live the convenient way, you will never achieve anything in your life, because sitting on a couch and
inspire you to do something. But I believe that's, I think, the problem of our society, that the society itself says you live this way because you're supposed to, and the environment shapes you, and also, okay, you can do some different things, but in general, like the statistical people, for this expression, like most of the people, they do only the way other people does, and they do what they should be or what is expected from them to do. So I believe this is something that we change. Like, okay, like more people could think about it. And from my life, like big change. I also think that, as I already said, it depends on your society, and it depends on environment you've grown up. Because, for example, when I compare my life to my parents' life, it's like, you know, it's like I cannot even compare it because it's so different. They've grown up. My father, at least, he was born on the Second World War time, so it was like really different stuff. He suffered, he missed some stuff. So this is something that really shaped different, I think, lifestyle, different approach, different, I don't know, everything different. Like everything is like different point of view on some things. For example, of food, like my father might treat the food differently, like more, he appreciates more than what he has. Like I throw everything, and maybe he doesn't, like, so he appreciates more what he has. And also I think my parents, they cannot, or they would not do as much as I can do right now. Because I can travel around the world, I can just change my job, do whatever I want, and just like that. Leave the country. So I think that's it.
Mateusz.
Okay, so you were laughing when I raised my hand because you probably thought that I want to say something contrary to what Ola said, but actually, many thanks for putting this into words better than I could. And this is also the same with Mantis. That these are small steps that lead to a change, but only after it's done you can see back that it was done. And this is exactly what I meant, that I wasn't saying that change through small steps is not possible. It is, and it just takes time to see that this change was quite big. And yeah, so that's it. And another thing is, I'm really waiting for someone to answer what Jacek asked, that what else does it take to really feel the change. Came from you. That's why I'm looking at you, because I'm really interested in this, because I am thinking the same like Jacek, that actually those small things are the things that define us somehow, and these are the things that we can see as measures of ourselves, our behavior, our actions, and so on. These are the little parts that build together define us as we are. So, that's it.
Mark.
Okay, so first about if we can see the changes or we can't see them. I think that the problem is that when we look back and we don't see something, when we see something that we don't like in ourselves, it's a kind of protection mechanism that when we think, when you don't like the person who you were, and we see something that is possible reason for hurting ourselves, like I don't like myself and so on. we just protect our own identity, our own ego, our own perception of the perception of ourselves, and that's why maybe we can't we tend to think that we were the same, because when we think behind past and we see something that it's not like, I don't know how to put it. The change, we don't maybe because I won't be able to put it right. I think that we can see these big changes. For example, when we are at the end of our life, because then we have this. We look back and we think that if we are pleased with our lives or not, and that's when I think that we can see these changes. But and also. I know, but it don't make much sense right now. I'm thinking that if we have to be aware of something we want to change, because you said that we can change ourselves when we know that we want to change it.
No, I meant. You need to be aware. If you want to change yourself, you need to be aware of what you have to work on.
Yeah, but I don't think that we actually can do this because I'm not sure that the changes that are happening in our life and in ourselves are the things that we wanted to change. Because if it was so, nobody would do this, because we are too lazy to see. Oh God, I think it's this thinking. Oh God, I think I should do something more. I should go out more. I should go to the gym. I should go to do something. It's just similar things, yeah. And then we just sit and do nothing because we are too lazy to do it. And if the changes in our life and in ourselves were bound to be done only this way, I think that nobody would change, and still we do change. I think we do change. So I don't think that we have to be aware of these things we want to change ourselves. To actually change, it can be just done subconsciously, like it just happened over time, and then we look back and we see it. And so,
Adrian.
I wanted to introduce a new topic about opinion, change of opinion. I think many times we think we have an opinion on something, and sometimes because the people that we spend time with are that opinion, and we are not very sure what we think or not, so we take the same opinion, or we even don't notice that it's not really our opinion but the rest of the opinion of the other people. And when something happens to you or something close to you, then you realize that maybe that was not your opinion, and you change it. I would try to be more specific. I don't know, for example, about gay people. You might think you are against or something, but then imagine that your brother or your friend is going through those questions, and then you may think maybe I didn't really know what my opinion was. And sometimes I think that we really have to experience the thing to have a real opinion. And sometimes I get angry to people that say, I don't know, that they think they know something, and I ask them, have you know somebody that has been through this, or have you been through this yourself? And they say no. And sometimes it's really like stupid things, like, I don't know, that before I came here, I don't know, sorry, but they were saying like Polish people steal a lot, and there's a lot of jokes about stealing and stuff. And when you ask them, have you been to Poland? Do you know anybody living in Poland? No, but people just say. And my point is that you have to go through things to have your own opinion yourself, or at least I think that.
Just a curiosity, I'm curious about why nobody never mentioned it yet media, because changing people always involved, well, normally involved when we discuss about it in media. There is always somebody popping up with the media issue, and there still wasn't. So I'm just curious about it. But Jacek.
I can do it.
Yeah,
no, but just as a part of it, because your point of view is interesting for me. Like at one part of your argument, you said that it's hard to change because of watching TV and media and stuff like that. And then you talked about your parents and the situation in which they live, and it sounded like they had even less opportunity to change. Probably they watched less television or had only programs during their youth. So I would pose also a question: if we are living in the society or in a situation that encourages change or suppresses it, or maybe it's always that society wants to have the status quo, but the methods of suppressing it are different. Like now they are mild and a bit sneaky, like television and internet and things like that, and then it was really oppressive. So that is a little bit about media. And also, some people are saying that you have to be aware, you don't have to be aware to change, but I think you are all talking about change for the better. But you can change like a lot to worse without even figuring out that it's happening. Like, and you watch TV and sit in front of computer, and then you go for some health exam, and they say like your spine is completely ruined. You're like, oh, how did it happen? I was here 10 years ago, and my spine was great. So yeah, you don't have to plan for it. It will happen. You don't have to like it, but yeah, it will. And also your argument about looking back and not admitting that you was different to like protect yourself. But also you protect yourself from happiness that you change for better. Mm-hmm. How you can be happy that you went somewhere in a nice direction, but you will never admit to yourself that you was in a place where you needed change. So yeah, I would say, I don't know if it's, I would say, like, I know because of this experiment that that's the case, that people are thinking that they did not change, but I would say that there's something else to it, not trying to protect themselves or get rid of the satisfaction. Just, I would say brain is too small to catalog so well how was you before, how are you now, and stuff like that. You just don't remember, and you are trying to figure it out, and you go from the point that, now I think like this, maybe it's a little bit more racist, and things like that. So I don't know. And who was talking about the things? You I would say that was the classic way of thinking that don't permit you to think about change. You say that there are people that have some opinion, but they don't really have the opinion, and then something happens, like the brother or somebody goes through experience, and then they discover the true opinion. So the opinion didn't change, you just discovered what you really thought. Nah, I would say you just had opinion, not good one, not informed one, but you had one, and then something, situation happened, and your opinion changed. And that's it.
So it changed?
I would say, yeah, it changed. It was there, not very strongly, supporting something, but it was there. That's it.
Mantas.
Yeah, first I just wanted to tell about the awareness, and you said that, well, that's when I said that I think that you're shaping everyday life is the best one, and those changes are they're moving slowly, but actually today you get what you get, and you said that then you can just sit down with everything, watch again everything, and Martha, you was talking about laziness, and I think that's one idea that we sometimes forget that, for example, I forget a lot, think that the idea about is the philosophy dead, that one, was also quite a thing, quite a question to is that are we still amazed about the surroundings that surround us actually? And when I tried to think of that, I was like in my mother's stomach, you know, and it was like maybe, I don't know, maybe someone else, like 3 liters of water or something. And then somehow I got into this world that's like a million times bigger, and there are so much more than water and dark and blood and blah blah blah. And I think as a child, actually, I was working as a first grade teacher, like for children who are 6 and 7 years old last year. And that was the thing that I saw. How are they really amazed about the world? And so to sit content or to be lazy actually is to forget about the place where we are, you know. And the awareness about changes is also connected to this thing, I think, because, and even to those, I can't remember your name, about those bad changes.
Okay, that's it.
That's it. Because, you know, we're always thinking of